President Trump is railing against CNN and the New York Times over their reporting on his administration strikes on Iran.
Both outlets ran stories on how early US intelligence suggests that the strikes were not as damaging as Trump had made them out to be.
The president wrote on Truth Social, "Fake news, CNN, together with the failing New York Times, have teamed up in an attempt to demean one of the most successful military strikes in history. The nuclear sites in Iran are completely destroyed. Both the Times and CNN are getting slammed by the public."
CNN writes in their piece that the Defense Intelligence Agency, and that's the Pentagon's intelligence arm, produced the assessment. It's based on a battle damage assessment by the US Central Command.
Here is Secretary of State Marco Rubio defending the US strike.
The conversion facility, which you can't do a nuclear weapon without a conversion facility. We can't even find where it is, where it used to be on the map. You can't even find where it used to be because the whole thing is just blackened out. It's gone.
Conservatives on X are pointing to the fact that the CNN story was written by former Politico reporter Natasha Bertrand. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt wrote, "This CNN story was written by the same reporter who wrote the very first fake news story claiming the Hunter Biden laptop was disinformation." How did that work out for you, Natasha Bertrand?
Meanwhile, Democrats are slamming Trump for postponing 2 briefings to Congress on the Iran strikes.
What are they afraid of? Why won't they engage Congress in the critical details? The results of the recent strike, the scope and trajectory of the conflict, the administration's long-term strategy.
The question that the American people are asking is, why are Republicans hiding facts and the truth from America with respect to the possibility that their actions will drive us into another catastrophic war in the Middle East?
Speaker Johnson announced that the House briefing would be held on Friday. So far, the ceasefire between Iran, Israel, and the U.S. is holding. So the reason I know that conservatives are skeptical of this reporting, Natasha Bertrand is in fact a reporter formerly with Politico. It is her byline under the infamous headline that I still can't believe all these years later they never updated or changed or said, whoopsies, that Hunter Biden laptop is disinfo, experts say. That,
Not to relitigate all of that, but was her story not more nuanced than the headline was, though?
The story was more nuanced. They've done her no favors by leaving that headline on it for so long. Right. You're right that it is not always the author's fault that what the headline says. So that is why there is some skepticism of her. Now, this reporting was also from the New York Times, so there are multiple sources on it. We don't really know the basis of that report, and we should find out more about whose intelligence this is, because it is something we just deserve to know the answers to, correct?
Well, when you say we don't know the basis of it, no one appears to be disputing that it comes from the Defense Intelligence Agency, which is a part of the Pentagon, which is self-evidently part of the Trump administration. The thing that is notable to me about the comments that we played or read from Leavitt and Rubio was they did not say the report was false. They made, in Leavitt's case, she made a personal attack on Natasha. In Rubio's case, he said, oh, well, there's this other facility that looks like it's completely destroyed. The reporting, the substance of the reporting was that after all these strikes and Trump's contention that it had completely obliterated Iran's enrichment program, that it had in fact delayed the progress of that program by about 6 months. Now, if that is true, what it means is that Trump has taken an enormous risk, sending US warplanes basically at the prodding of Benjamin Netanyahu to bomb Iran, and has slightly delayed the uranium enrichment program. That seems like something that is vital for the public to know. If there is evidence to the contrary, let's see it. But I think it's certainly a legitimate story and a worrying story.
I think it's a legitimate story, although the last thing I would want to do is convince the administration that the mission is not accomplished and we need to send in some more bombers to really take care of it. It goes to say how much of the capabilities to develop weapons of this nature can really be bombed away at all. Some of this is just is information. You have to, if the people were in the underground complex and they got killed, can they find new people? Is some of this in computers, the formula for crafting a nuclear weapon they emailed it to themselves. It can't be blown up. That kind of thing.
Sorry to cut across you, but some of the reporting was to the effect that the Fordo site, which is the one that's built inside the mountain, that the entrance and some of the basic infrastructure had been damaged, but the thing itself, the underground facility, had not been destroyed, and therefore they could presumably rebuild the entrance tunnels, and there you go.
My suspicion is in Trump's inner circle, or in Trump's own, his most inner of inner circles, his own brain. His thinking is, again, this is just my guess, my hunch, he still wants some kind of deal with the Iranians, a peace deal, and this was more about showing them that he means business, that if he doesn't like the direction of the conversation or he doesn't think they're playing ball, he will launch some bombs at them. It's less about actually permanently degrading their military nuclear capabilities, because that's kind of a fool's errand anyway, and they could eventually get a nuclear weapon. What are they going to do with it? It is more negotiating strategy. That is what I suspect his actual thinking is. But I don't know.
That may be his thinking, but the other facet of his thinking that we have to remind ourselves of is there was a deal with Iran about its enrichment program. It stood until Trump tore it down because he doesn't like things with Obama's name on it, essentially. While that deal was in place, it was very effective. Since the withdrawal from that deal, that is when Iran has apparently accelerated this enrichment. And so Trump's kind of ego and chaos is just causing all this rumpus to leave us trying to get back to square one.
Yeah, I was not in favor of withdrawing from the deal, nor was Rand Paul, the political figure with whom I agree the most. So no argument there, but we should get back to something resembling it, or Trump says he can get something even better. That remains to be seen, and this might be a part of trying to achieve that. I hope it's that rather than a just prelude to more military strikes, which I'm sure some people, both in the administration and outside it in both parties, are hoping that we have full-on regime change, which that does not seem to be on the table so much for now. I think that would be a good thing.
With that, yeah.
Trump retaliates against AOC up next, calling her one of the dumbest people in Congress after she floats the idea of impeaching the president yet again.